My name is Frank Young, and I lead the Children and Family Unit at Civitas. This is an entirely new research unit in Westminster, and we will be launching formally later on this year. But my job in simple terms is to lobby the government to do far more on family, not least because there is clearly so much going on across the country that we need to be supporting that work with gusto and enthusiasm. I have to say, I feel like something of an interloper in this in this conference. I'm one of the few people who doesn't do anything remotely useful to help people and help families in communities. So I feel rather embarrassed to be here, but I think what is very noticeable from the presentations so far is that we have moved from, we can move slides, by the way, we don't need to see my name. Thank you. What I think is very noticeable is that we are now moving into a period of delivery when it comes to family hubs. I've been attending these events for a number of years now, and we have quite clearly moved from discussing the concept of a family hub and what a family hub might do in a community, and we're now really focusing on the delivery. And I think there's every reason for government and local authorities, of course, to be absolutely ambitious for family support. I think it's easy to forget that for things like healthcare and education, we haven't always had in our history universal state-led provision, and I think the same journey can be travelled for family support, where one day we or our children or our grandchildren even have access to something called a family hub in the same way that they have access to a state school down their road or a GP practice in their community. That's my brief moment of pom-pomming for family hub. I encourage everyone to be enthusiastic about the concept. I think in terms of a vision for digital provision of family services, what we do know, and some of the research that I've done working for think tanks, is that parents are increasingly going online for information. One survey I did a few years ago of fathers found the emergence of what we called Google Dads. We discovered that over a 10-year period between 2006, 7 and 2016, 17, there was a fourfold increase in the number of new dads seeking parenting advice online. But I think crucially, one of the things we also discovered when we did this research is they wanted to go online to meet other parents too. And when we were looking at the provision of online services, that geolocation technology was particularly important to identify parents like you, down your street who possibly have a baby or a child of a similar sort of age, who you could go and meet up with. I think one of the features of parenting, particularly in the early days and weeks and months, is potential loneliness and isolation, and being able to meet other parents is incredibly important. So I think now really is the time, and we've clearly seen today, for the government, I think, to take a lead in this area and to launch an online family hub, really to act as a digital front door, to extend and complement existing provision in your local area. And if we can move to the next slide, please. I think it's really important to recognise that if we're looking at what a national online family hub might do and what the vision for an online family hub might be, it's that it absolutely shouldn't replace what is being provided locally. It absolutely shouldn't be something that replicates what's already happening or is being delivered centrally. I shudder at the thought. But I think if we deliver a digital wrapper called an online family hub, I think language really matters here. And I think what we will find is that using that language of a family hub would embed the language of family hubs and perhaps also stimulate expectations that everybody should have access to a family hub. This somewhat, and perhaps the civil servants in the room ought to cover their ears, this somewhat sort of puts a pressure on future governments to do far more in funding, supporting, evangelising for family hubs as a movement in across the country. I think crucially, of course, the benefits of digital is that a national online family hub could provide a trusted go-to place, a trusted digital front door. It's much in the same way, perhaps, that too many of us, when we're feeling unwell, immediately go on our phones and onto the NHS app and try to diagnose ourselves with a health condition. And the NHS app the NHS website is particularly good as a trusted resource, and a national online family hub would have that sort of sense that it is trusted. And it could also be tailored and targeted to individual groups, individuals themselves, of course. So that what you see on your screen, on your phone, perhaps isn't the same thing as what your neighbour even might see on their screen or on their phone. A national online family hub could, of course, provide guidance and advice, but it's crucial that it is a gateway in. It would link to local support in the area and stimulate the local physical support rather than take away from it. And I think as a brand as well, it's important to recognise, and we've just seen this in the fantastic presentation from Nottinghamshire County Council, that this isn't just a boring old website either. What really matters is how people access the digital. So I was inspired by the talk of using TikTok, for example. It's slightly shudder at the thought, but it's providing apps, things that you look at on your phone, particularly if you have a newborn, and that time is precious, and you don't necessarily get a great deal of time to sit and look at a laptop, making the digital really accessible for people and where people go for their digital information. I think my final point would be that we and government, in looking for the next stages in developing family hub policy, could be really ambitious for an online family hub by driving traffic through the online, using by making, for example, things like tax-free childcare and benefits that are received for looking out for children, through something called an online family hub, which forces you to walk through the digital door. I like many people, I access tax-free childcare for my children, and it is, without being rude, it's a very plain website. It is a very dull website, and I contrast that with perhaps, say, the experience I have when I log on to my bank account, and my bank is constantly popping up adverts and pressuring me to do something, to get a credit card or to access some service that they're offering. And I think the same vision could be had for an online family hub when I'm accessing tax-free childcare and perhaps other family benefits too. That would drive a huge audience to the online, and hopefully through physical front doors too in communities.
I'm going to stop you there, Frank. Sorry.
I'm going to shut up. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate